30 days ago, this had a hold of me far more than I realized. I was drinking 1 or 2 glasses every night. Never more, but rarely less. And sometimes the amount in each glass, well, it didn't exactly meet the standard 5-ounce serving size. I wasn't worried, but I was curious. And so I decided to put myself out there, go 30 days without any alcohol, and see what I learned in the process. In the next few minutes, I'll share my experience, what I learned, and what it might mean for me and maybe for you going forward. I'm Dr. Bradford Cooper of the Catalyst Coaching Institute, where we partner with health and wellness coaches and so many others that are looking to move toward this idea of better than yesterday. However, better never takes place without change, and that's where the 30-day alcohol challenge was all about. By the way, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, it's an easy way to tell us that you like what we're doing here. So how'd it go? Well, the first day was easy, and then came days 2 and 3.
All right, we are day 3, and we're having our second big test. First day seemed easy. Second day was the spaghetti thing. Today is salmon, and I just naturally am like, salmon, Chardonnay, perfect, that's awesome. So, 2 tough days in a row, right out of the gate. I'm hoping this gets a little bit easier, but I'll let you know.
I'm a pretty motivated guy. I've done 11 Ironmans. We won the Race Across America 2-person bike race, and I have 4 college degrees. But that first week, it was just plain rough. I'm fortunate to neither have a personal nor a family history of alcohol abuse, so I thought this whole thing would be a piece of cake. What I learned about the process and myself during the 30-day journey was something quite different. You pulled up this video to learn something that will help you. So let's hit the strategies that I took to make it easier and some of the lessons I learned along the way that maybe are beneficial to you in your journey. So number 1, create friction. Out of the gate, I made alcohol, generally wine in my case, much less accessible. Everything was moved to the basement from the kitchen. And while this obviously wasn't a huge barrier, it was enough to shift from that autopilot to having to make a conscious decision. Number 2, integrate a replacement. This was critical. While Jesus may have turned water into wine, I was unable to do the same with water in my head, and I knew I needed something more than water with dinner. I tried a variety of options whenever Susanna and I ate out, and picked up some unique juices to have at home to try to fill that void. And then number 3 was engage a team. This was a big one. The people around me knew what I was doing, and that made it so much easier. But it was still tough. Week 1 was difficult, and I realized how connected this is to this. And I really kind of thought, am I enjoying this as much? It was kind of a weird, like, really, Brad? Like, really, this is that important to you? My answer was, yeah, it was. So we'll see how that goes over the next 3.5 weeks as I get away from this, autopilot thing that I'm trying to work on. Same thing with setting. Susanna and I went in the mountains to see the leaves change here in Colorado, and one of the meals we stopped at a place where we could sit outside, and I would normally get a beer, and we'd watch the people come by, and we'd just sit and chat, and I knew I wasn't gonna have the beer. And I almost found myself thinking, well, is this gonna be fun? And my obvious answer was, are you kidding me? Like, seriously? You're wondering if this is gonna be fun? You're in this beautiful place with this amazing woman, you're having great food, and you're wondering if it's gonna be fun because you're not having a beer that you're not even a huge beer fan, it's just the setting thing? Now, 30 days didn't seem like a long period from the outset, but when it involves a complete change of habit, a complete change of mindset, it can feel like forever. And by the end of week 1, I realized alcohol played a much bigger role in my daily routine than I ever would have been willing to admit coming in. I probably originally would have said it was a 2 on a 10-point scale, but I realized pretty quick it was more like a 7, maybe higher. How about you? In fact, let's make that the question of the day. On a 1 to 10 scale, what number would you give alcohol in terms of the role it plays in your life at this time while you're watching this right now? And yes, if you do your own 30-day challenge, it'd be kind of fun to have you come back and update your number. So, what did I learn? Here are the sweet 7 lessons that came out of this for me, and maybe they'll resonate for you. Number 1, I had no idea how connected alcohol was to my emotions. Bad day? Glass of wine. Feeling philosophical? Let's try a bit of whiskey. Great news! Let's celebrate by opening a bottle of wine. Out with friends? What drink should we have? You get the idea. I realized alcohol was no longer a special treat. I was just changing the color of the shirt to match the activity. Number 2, eating out is a lot cheaper. This one should be obvious, but wow. Adding a drink or 2 at dinner, it may not double the cost of the meal, but in some cases, it's not all that far off. Number 3, club soda, It's not bad. I'd never actually tried it before this challenge, but it was one of a number of alternatives that I used as replacements over the 30 days. And this exercise, it frankly opened my eyes to options I'll use in the future. Number 4, I noticed I enjoyed foods more. Oh, I always enjoy food, but it would usually play second fiddle to the glass of wine. Well, guess what happens when the first fiddle is sidelined? Exactly. The second fiddle took center stage and nailed it. Number 5, it turns out I'm really good at rationalization. I mentioned this realization about my emotional connection to alcohol earlier, but it didn't end there. I'd also connected wine to specific foods. This wouldn't necessarily be a problem, except I expanded the special foods list to include almost everything we ate. Mexican food, time for a Shiraz. Salmon, Chardonnay's perfect. Italian food, obviously a Cabernet. Now, keep in mind, I don't know that much about wine, but I'd created auto connections that moved beyond the basic foods to provide a good excuse regardless of what was on the table. Interestingly, the healthier the food, the less appealing the alcohol. In fact, I found an easy trick was to simply order a big old salad, and then I never missed the alcohol. There might be a bonus lesson in there somewhere. Number 6, collecting data along the way provided some valuable insights that I might have otherwise missed. I tracked average resting heart rate, Garmin stress score, and subjective sleep quality. The stress score improved slightly, the average resting heart rate moderately, and the sleep quality demonstrated a dramatic improvement over the 30 days. Obviously, there were plenty of other variables involved that could have influenced those, but it was interesting nonetheless. I'd read studies about how alcohol, even in moderate amounts, affects sleep, but tracking it for 30 days, that drove that point home big time. Number 7, voicing thoughts out loud can be a powerful tool. A recent bike wreck meant I wasn't able to work out with the intensity I normally enjoy. With that part of my life missing, I likely subconsciously started leaning on alcohol to fill the gap. But listen to how that sounds when I say it out loud. I'm not training for a race right now, so instead I'm going to drink more alcohol to experience more joy in my life. Wait, what? Once the subconscious thought became conscious, once I said it out loud, the ridiculous meter started lighting up, and it was much easier to move forward in a much more healthy manner. So was it easy? Absolutely not. But did it get easier with each passing week? No question. In fact, as I'm recording this, we're at day 33 and I still haven't had a drink, if that's any indicator, and I'm not drinking this. Was it worth it? Most definitely. And now that it's over, it's likely going to be so much easier to get back in my long-term goal of about 3 servings per week rather than the 1 to 2 servings per day that I'd be drinking over the past 6 months. There are more tools and resources to improve your life, and if you're a coach, for your coaching career, available at catalystcoachinginstitute.com. You can see that link down below. Or you might enjoy this video here if you got time to hang out with us for a little bit longer.